Comic Link is thrilled to bring to the winter featured auction, which commences February 14th, this rare, higher grade example of the first time Batman's iconic origin story was ever told. 1939's Detective Comics number 33 in CGC 7.0. This example hails from the Rockford Pedigree Collection. Fine or better unrestored examples of Detective Comics number 33 are extraordinarily rare on the market, and this is the single finest unrestored example Comic Link has ever offered. This 86-year-old comic book offers near newsstand fresh off-white to white pages. This opportunity to acquire this major Golden Age DC in this kind of grade is one that might not come along again for a long time to come. Published 6 months after Batman's first appearance in Detective Comics number 27, Detective 33 leads off with two of the most significant pages in the history of pop culture, the first origin of the Batman. This is the first time the legendary events that birthed the Dark Knight were revealed, showing the fateful night in times past when Bruce Wayne, still a young boy, and his parents leave a movie theater. An armed thief approaches them and demands that Martha Wayne turn over her necklace. Thomas Wayne attempts to interfere and is shot in the chest. Martha yells for help and is also shot dead. Bruce Wayne takes in the shock of seeing his parents killed in front of his eyes. Bruce swears to avenge his parents' deaths by spending the rest of his life warring on all criminals. He studies science while transforming his body. One night, while sitting in the mansion he inherited from his father, Bruce ponders that criminals are a superstitious and cowardly lot, so he must come up with an appropriate disguise to leverage those weaknesses. Just then, a huge bat flies in an open window, inspiring Bruce to become the Dark Avenger of Evil, the Batman. This classic origin of Batman has been retold over 100 times in everything from comic books to live-action movies, TV series, and even video games. For the first few decades, the origin would appear sparingly, sometimes with gaps of many years in between each telling. Let's take a look back at the history of Batman's origin. The origin of Batman was first reprinted 6 months after Detective Comics number 33 in Batman number 1, with just a modification to the splash image of Batman that appears above the origin story, including the addition of the words, "The Legend of the," above the Batman logo. The origin wasn't mentioned again until it appeared in expanded form 8 years later in 1948's Batman number 47. In this story, Batman finds the killer of his parents, Joe Chill. Batman then reflects on his origin, and we once again see the attempted robbery that led to the death of his parents. A new detail in the story revealed that Martha Wayne was never actually shot, but had a weak heart and died from the shock of witnessing her husband's murder. This new version shows the killer becoming frightened by the stare of the angered Bruce Wayne. This was the moment the spirit of the Batman was born. The story then shows Bruce swearing to avenge his parents, but this time over their grave instead of while saying his prayers. This is followed by panels showing similar scenes to the original origin tale. Following this recap is a dramatic scene where Batman confronts Chill and reveals that he's Bruce Wayne, the son of the man Chill murdered. Chill tells 3 fellow crooks that he was responsible for the existence of Batman, and all 3 shoot him out of anger. Chill dies in Batman's arms, and the murder of Thomas Wayne is closed. 4 years later, in 1952's Detective Comics number 190, Batman suffers from amnesia, and Robin tells him his origin story to refresh his memory. This time, Bruce tries to warn his father that he's going to get shot. Another 4 years would pass before the origin once again was retold in 1956's Detective Comics number 235. The origin skips the actual murder of the Waynes, likely because of concerns the newly established censorship board, the Comic Code Authority, would not allow such a violent scene. In this story, we learn a gangster named Lou Moxon actually hired Joe Chill to assassinate Thomas Wayne to get revenge for Wayne having testified against him in court. 3 more years would pass before 1959's Detective Comics number 265 once again retold the story in a story entitled Batman's First Case. We once again see the stick-up and shooting, although the bodies of the Waynes are not shown, likely due to censorship concerns. In 1960, Batman Annual 1 reprinted older Batman stories for the very first time ever. This included the Amnesia story from Detective Comics number 190, with this more violent pre-code origin scene from 1952. The next time a portion of Batman's origin appeared in print, it was in an unexpected place, in the October 1965 issue of Playboy magazine. Panels from Batman's original origin story from Detective Comics number 33 helped illustrate an essay by Jules Feiffer about his love for the superheroes of the early Golden Age. Soon after, this essay was expanded into the hardcover book, The Great Comic Book Heroes, which reprinted the slightly modified original 2-page Batman origin story from Batman number 1. This was the first time stories from DC's early Golden Age were ever reprinted. In 1966, the Batman TV show made its debut, and Bruce Wayne mentioned briefly in the first episode that his parents were murdered by dastardly criminals. This was mentioned once more at the start of the second season and was never referenced again, likely due to the light-hearted tone of the series. The vast majority of viewers never knew that Batman had such a dark origin story. In 1968, Batman 198 reprinted the origin story from Batman number 47, where Batman finds the murderer of his parents. Soon after, the milestone Batman number 200 provided a recap of the origin story. 1969's Batman 208 showcased a new version of the origin illustrated by Gil Kane, who appears to have mistakenly shown Thomas Wayne instead of Bruce yelling at Joe Chill, "They're dead! You killed them!" This story also reveals that a young Bruce Wayne was cared for by a kindly housekeeper after the death of his parents, and it turned out she was the mother of Joe Chill, the man who killed Batman's parents. In 1971, master artist Neal Adams illustrated the origin in Batman number 232. Adams referenced the original origin story, and it once again showed Chill shooting at both Thomas and Martha Wayne. In 1972, a teenage Bruce Wayne meets a teenage Superman in Superboy number 182, and we learn he was already trying to solve the murder of his parents just a few years after it took place. In 1973, Secret Origins number 1 reprinted the exact original 2-page origin story from Detective Comics number 33 for the first time. In 1975, DC reprinted Batman number 1 in its famous first edition Treasury size line, which included the 2-page origin story. And in 1976, the trade paperback Secret Origins of the Super DC Heroes reprinted both the 2-page version of the origin from Batman number 1 and the expanded version from Batman number 47. In 1976, the events of the origin were instrumental to the classic story in Detective Comics number 457 called No Hope in Crime Alley. In it, we meet Leslie Tompkins, a kind older woman who we learn was the first person to provide comfort to young Bruce Wayne at the scene of his parents' murder. We learn that every year on the anniversary of the killings, Batman visits Leslie in the neighborhood that came to be known as Crime Alley due to the murder of the Waynes. The end of the story reveals that the visit has left an unusual smile on the face of the sleeping Dark Knight. In 1980, the origin was retold in Untold Legends of the Batman #1, which tied all the enhancements to the origin mentioned earlier into a single narrative. 1981's Detective Comics number 500 recapped the origin, starting with this title splash and this page showing Joe Chill once again shooting both of Bruce's parents. 1984's Batman Special number 1 also recapped the origin to begin its story. In 1985, the origin was told for the first time in a medium outside comics when it appeared on the 1985 episode of the animated TV series Super Friends entitled The Fear.
And then we saw him. This is a stick-up. Give me your purse, lady.
Oh no!
You heard me.
Keep your hands off my wife! Look out! He's got him!
In 1986, Secret Origins number 6 retold the origin of the Golden Age Batman as part of a farewell to DC's pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths continuity. In the exciting new post-Crisis reality, the origin appeared in the first issues of both of Frank Miller's two legendary Batman sagas. First, it appeared in 1986's Batman: The Dark Knight Returns #1, and then in 1987's Batman number 404, the first issue of the saga known as Batman Year One. This series told the complete revamped origin of the post-Crisis on Infinite Earths version of Batman, which changed many of the details about Batman's past, but left the basics of the origin in place. In 1989, the origin of Batman appeared in live action for the first time in Tim Burton's enormously successful movie, Batman. This exposed the story to hundreds of millions of people around the globe. One major change was that this version made the young man who would later become the Joker the killer of Batman's parents, instead of Joe Chill. Following the release of the movie, the origin of Batman appeared with increasing frequency in the comic books, including the first issue of Batman: Legends of the Dark Knight #1, which included these images of the origin story. Starting around this time, a new line of comics that came to be known as Elseworlds told tales of alternate realities, including many where Batman lived in other time periods, such as Gotham by Gaslight, where Batman battles Jack the Ripper during the Victorian era. The origin of Batman remains similar to the original in most of these tales, despite it taking place in different time periods. Additional live-action versions of Batman's origin have been a part of such films as 2005's Batman Begins, 2016's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, and 2019's Joker. Now you can bid on one of the best existing examples of the very first time the iconic origin of Batman was ever told. Visit comiclink.com to bid starting on February 14th and to view more exceptional works of art and vintage investment quality comic books. If you are interested in selling your original artwork or valuable comic books, we can help, so please drop us a line. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, please let us know by giving us a like and subscribing or following our channel.